Hey, I'm Victor Margiotta, and this is the Community Show. We are in beautiful Croton on the Hudson, on the top of the hill. We're here with Riley Moeller, and he's got the bike shop, Pedigo, and we're going to talk about e-bikes. We're going to talk about the history of bicycles, and so glad to have him on the show and talk about all the exciting things that are going on with bicycles. So, Riley, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, how long have you been here?
We're going into our third season this
right.
year. Yeah,
Excellent.
very exciting.
How's it going so far?
It's going really well.
Oh,
we had a really busy winter with a lot of service work. We probably did over 100 tune-ups.
Wow.
Kept me busy, which was nice for a change, you know,
Good.
as you build the business.
Yes.
And we're ready to hit the ground running for spring. We've got great weather out now, and we're excited.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in just south of York, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
South of York, north of Baltimore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my first bike was a Huffy.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Yeah, we're talking, I guess, 50 years ago. So my neighbors, Robbie Logue and Lori and Rosemary Boyle, actually laid down and let me jump over them on my Huffy bike. But
I can remember some of those stunts. Yeah.
I thought I was going to be a stunt man when I was a kid. That was just part of my repertoire, you know, climbing trees and jumping from limb to limb and all that.
Well, if you had your own bike back in the day, you had to be able to build the ramp, right?
Yeah. It was just a log and a piece of plywood.
Wood. Yeah, right, exactly. Nice.
What was your first bike?
My first bike was a red Mongoose BMX bike with the pegs and the handlebars real far forward, and it was all the rage.
Yeah. I wound up getting a mountain bike, and then, you know, this area, it's tough because, you know, it's only 4 months out of the year that, you know, you get to ride your bike. So they don't have the bike paths that they have in a lot of other states. And, you know, what do you suggest for people that aren't riding their bikes in this area?
Yeah, well, I'm on the Bike and Pedestrian Committee here in Croton, and Croton is actually very bike friendly. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a few bike lanes going down to the train station here, and we're actually working on a complete streets project with the village to try to bring more bike lanes all throughout the village.
That's a great thing.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And of course, you know, we're hilly, and the e-bike has really helped a lot of people who may not otherwise be still biking, able to enjoy that activity, whether it's for leisure or for commuting or.
Well, it's incredible how far they've come, and it just seems like in just the last 10 years. But like you said, now they have these three-wheel bikes that people that aren't, you know, don't feel too safe or getting older or have health issues and are still able to get out and get on a bike. And they want something a little more stable. You offer a three-wheel bike?
We do, yes. Yeah, we have two different models of, it's called a trike, one wheel in the front, two in the back. And often there'll be sort of a trunk, so to say, in the back where they can throw their bag, or they can go to the grocery store and put their groceries in it. Still keeps them active, getting out, you know, a little bit of exercise, feel like they have their independence still, especially if, you know, we have a lot of customers that maybe aren't able to drive anymore for various health reasons. Right. And the tricycle has just really just opened up their world, and, you know, give them that sense of independence back. And it's really neat to see.
Yeah, that is. There is a large range of bikes that I could see here. Talk about the different types of bikes.
Yeah.
There's foldable bikes. There's
Sure. Yeah. There's such a variety in terms of bikes. But we like to say we kind of have a bike for everyone, whether it's a folding bike, if you're traveling and you don't have a lot of space, or you're in a small apartment, fold it up, throw it in your trunk, no need for a bike rack. We have super low step bikes if you have any mobility issues in terms of maybe your hips or your knees, or not everybody can swing their leg over the back. Yeah. We have more off-road style bikes, whether it be a fat tire bike or a downhill mountain bike, a hardtail mountain bike. We also have passenger and cargo bikes. So families going out with their kids, throw the two kids on the back,
Right.
throw the groceries on the front. We have sort of motorcycle style bikes. That's the beauty of having being part of the community and having a bike shop, is that you can come in and you can try all different kinds,
Right.
and we really encourage that because an e-bike can often be an investment, and you should really find something everybody's body is a little bit different, and everybody has a little bit different use case and different needs, and there's no better way to find the right bike than to go out and either go on a half-hour test ride or rent it for the day and really see, is this the bike for you?
Right. So you do rentals?
We do rentals, yes.
All right. How long can someone rent the bike for?
You can rent it as long as you like.
Really?
Yeah. Generally, people are renting for a few hours or maybe a half a day.
Right.
We also get people who are maybe taking them on vacation, and so we have discounted like weekly rentals and things like that.
Oh, that's a
But
great
our bread
option.
and butter on the rentals is, I would say, a few hours.
That's great.
Cruise around town, get some lunch, maybe check out a new restaurant.
What is the history of e-bikes? I guess it dates back to the late 1800s.
I believe the first patent on an e-bike was 1897, I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
They've certainly come a long way since then.
Right.
I think at one time there were lead acid batteries on an e-bike, but especially the last 10 years or so, they've just come so far. They're no longer underpowered. They have the range that you would need to make them practical. They have the speed.
What are the ranges? They vary, right, from bike to bike?
Yeah, most will have a range of somewhere between 30 and 60 miles.
Okay.
We do have extended range batteries that can, if you need to travel further, maybe for commuting, or you're just having so much fun that you want to keep going,
Right.
that you can increase that up to 75 or 80 miles or so.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Which is a far bike ride.
Yeah. And what about, how long does it take to charge these batteries?
It varies from bike to bike, but generally we're talking 4 or 5 hours for a charge. You can get a half charge in a little over an hour. A lot of times if we have a family that's maybe renting for a day, we'll give them a charger and say, stop at a coffee shop or a restaurant.
There you go.
Top up your battery,
Right,
and they can generally get about a half a charge in a little over an hour. So just like your cell phone, the first half is going to charge a lot quicker than the second half.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's a great option. So there's a lot of fear about, charging the batteries, and, a lot of people will skimp on the price and try to buy a cheaper battery, and then there's that option of having a fire. So what do you say to those people?
So the first thing is you want to make sure that you're buying a quality product. So I know that Amazon and Alibaba, you can probably find e-bikes for $300, $400, $500, but you're really sacrificing on safety. And the other thing is, even if you buy a quality e-bike, if you're tempted to buy another battery, you can find a battery that will work that's aftermarket that might be a few $100s cheaper. But what you run the risk of is it doesn't communicate with the computer of the bike, with the battery management system,
Right.
with all the safety checks. Another example is a charger. So a lot of people, they like a charger for home, they like a charger for work. They can probably find a charger that will work with this bike for maybe $20 or $30 less. But you run the risk again of it will work, but they skimp on things. So all of our chargers are smart chargers, which means once the battery reaches capacity, it stops putting voltage into it.
That's a great thing.
When you buy an aftermarket charger, there's no telling whether that is going to be a smart charger or not.
Right.
You could probably find a charger that's a higher amp, which means it's going to charge your battery faster. But that could cause its own problems in and of itself. So whatever brand you have, you want to stick with buying stuff from that brand. Don't be tempted to save a couple bucks.
Right. So I'm friends with AJ at Down Cycle. Also
love AJ,
Croton,
yeah.
So I was just there. He helped me service a bike, changed I have $1,000 miles on my bike.
Nice.
So the tires were bald. He
Okay.
changed the tires for me. I thought I needed brake pads, but the pads were
Just an
fine. He just had to
adjustment.
adjust them.
Nice.
And so I needed a side view mirror, so he gave me a side view mirror, and
cool.
he did a great job.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Nice.
just wanted to say hi to AJ.
Nice. Yeah, we used to before I had a bike shop. AJ would tune up our bikes too. So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
he's the best.
down cycles is great.
Yeah, so I think he sells e-bikes. I'm pretty sure, but he does a lot of work on the regular mountain bikes.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Did you ever get into the mountain biking?
I did, yeah. When I was in high school and college, I did a lot of mountain biking. I rode treks, a lot of different mountain bike treks.
Right.
And then after college, when I was working in Manhattan and living in Hoboken, I got very into road biking. Would ride up over the GW and commute into work, which was awesome. And then probably 4 or 5 years later, I discovered an e-bike. And I just thought, wow, this is so cool. It was mind blowing. It felt like I was back on my red mongoose as a 12-year-old kid, and just that, it sounds so corny, but that sense of freedom and it was neat. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you go down the city now, and they're everywhere.
yeah, they are.
It's a great way to get around. A lot of them are actually working, delivering, and everything else.
Yeah.
But it's also a great commuter option.
We're so close to the train station that I pass by there all the time. Sometimes when we're doing tours or we're meeting people coming from the city to rent a bike, we'll drop them off down there. And you just see more and more e-bikes lined up for people commuting. So it's really nice to see people, not using the car in nice weather and hopping on the bike. And with it being so hilly here in Croton,
that's the other thing.
e-bike just sort of fills that need, which is really neat.
As you can see from behind us, there's a lot of accessories.
Yeah.
Now, we'll talk about the different accessories, especially like the cargo to put something on the bike as far as racks and baskets.
Right, sure. So we always like to have the person, if they're coming in for a bike, find the bike that's right for you first. A lot of people get really excited about all the flashy accessories and stuff. We like to, find the bike first and then outfit it to how you're going to be using it. So I always recommend, if you're going to be riding maybe in traffic, that you go with some mirrors. If you're going to go with one, go with the left mirror, because that's where cars are going to be coming, passing you from. So you want to be able to see them approaching. A bell is important. You want to if you're coming up on somebody, you want to let them know that you're coming.
Definitely.
Most will come with integrated lights. But if you have a bike that doesn't, especially if you're riding at dusk or something, a light is a great thing to have. You can really sort of deck it out the nines with phone holders and panniers and bags and baskets. And I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do.
That's great.
Yeah.
What are some of the options as far as the size of the bike? Now, you've got some that are really small and some that are really big.
Everybody's body is a little bit different. Some people are really, really short. Of course, you have to be 16 to ride a bike, so we don't make kids' bikes, but we make bikes for small adults, down to 4'10", 4'11", all the way up to, I have a customer who's 6'4", and we make a giant 29-inch bike with a big high-rise handlebar, and he came in and was looking, and he fell in love with this, and every time I see him, he's like, he says, I have never in my life had a bike that I didn't feel like the monkey on the little clown, in the circus. And he's like, this bike just fits me so well. So it's nice to be able to offer to the community, no matter what your body type is or how tall or short you are, we probably have something for you.
Now, I was on my bike the other day, and I ride, near Verplank, and we don't have a lot of these bike paths. And I'm off the road, I stay off the road, but I notice a lot of people are on their phone, and they're kind of like swerving off the road.
Yeah.
So, just as a precautionary, what do you try to tell people?
Well, so we have a phone holder.
Okay.
Now that's sort of a controversial topic. I like the phone holder because, let's face it, we have our phones with us all the time. We hear the pings, or maybe we're using GPS. It's a lot safer if you're riding and you have your phone mounted in the line of sight where you can see it, as opposed to you're riding and you're trying to look at it. And so if anybody is, especially if they feel like they're going to be using GPS, we think a phone holder right on the handlebars is a great thing. Of course, you have some people who their bike time is their Zen time, and they don't even bring their phone with them, and that's okay
no,
too.
That's the way to go, for sure. Now, you partnered with another company. Talk about that.
We did, yeah. We partnered with a company called Bunch Bikes out of Texas, made in the USA, and they offer something which is like a reverse trike. So it's one wheel in the back, two in the front, and in the front there's a big box, so to say. It's about 4 feet long and about 3 feet wide, and you can fit up to 4 kids in it, or 2 kids and a dog, like I've done with my family, or 2 large dogs. It's got a nice sun shade canopy over it. While we don't sell them here, we rent them out, and then we have a relationship with Bunch that if you would like to purchase it, we can help facilitate that transaction with Bunch. Bunch will actually deliver it right to your door. But the big thing that we're excited about is having it in our rental fleet. And Bunch has very graciously offered our customers free rentals, free 24-hour rentals through May 31st. Which we're getting a lot of interest in.
Excellent.
And it's nice to just be able to bring something different into the shop, and from riding cargo bikes with my kids on the back, that's a blast. It's so much fun. The kids love it, but there's something special about riding and being able to see your kids.
Yeah, right.
And your kids are not, your kids could be eating a snack, or they're bumping helmets, or they're just being kids. They don't have to worry about holding on, and it's
that is
neat.
pretty neat. I was checking it out in front. Now, how has the village of Croton been with you guys? They've been helping you?
Oh, they've been fantastic.
Yeah.
A lot of support from the village. Our local EMS group purchased 4 bikes from us. The Croton PD purchased 2 bikes, and we're excited to sort of just see them out this summer at the events and things like that. EMS has had their bikes for about a year now, and the feedback that we've gotten, and the police department sort of did a trial when they would have events, and the feedback that we got was that, at an event, crowd control is so much easier on a bike than it is in a car or maybe a gator or something. So it's been neat to see how they've put that to use.
How long do you think an e-bike would last, as long as you maintain it?
Well, not all e-bikes are created equal,
right.
I would say. You can definitely find that $500 e-bike, and we like to call them disposable bikes in the industry. But we're exclusive to the Pedigo brand here.
Yep.
All Pedigos come with a 5-year warranty.
Can't beat that.
So I would say at least 5 years. And I have people coming in for service that have had their Pedigo's been around for 15 years. I've seen bikes that are 9, 10, 11 years old, and the owners of them are still loving them. They're still riding them every day. As long as you maintain it, and it's a quality bike, it should last you a long time.
Yep. Now, storing it obviously is important, but now cold is not good for the battery, right?
No, the batteries are kind of like us. They don't like extremes. So you wouldn't want to leave your e-bike battery, let's say, in the trunk of your car and go park at the train station in the middle of the sun on a hot sunny day.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if you can ride your bike in the winter. We do snow tours, but you wouldn't want to store your battery maybe out in a shed for weeks or months at a time in freezing weather.
Yeah. I have one myself, and I store it in my house, but if I go somewhere, I'll actually take the battery off and bring it inside. I won't leave it out in the...
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah, so that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Is it practical to buy a backup battery, or do you think it's...
We get asked that question a lot. You know, I call it
Because I know
rain.
the one I had was $500, and I didn't think that was practical.
We call it range anxiety.
Okay.
A lot of people, when they get a bike, the first thing they ask is, "Can I get a second battery?"
Yeah,
and my feedback to them is, use the bike first. You can always come in and buy a second battery. I'm happy to sell you a second battery, but you're probably going to be happy with the one.
Yeah.
But we do have customers who buy multiple batteries, and that's okay too.
Sure. Well, it's not a bad option. I mean, have you heard people that accidentally didn't charge their battery? They went out and then they realized that they didn't. So that's a good thing that these bikes, you can pedal them still.
You can still pedal them, yep. There's no motor drags, so that means that if you want to ride it and get all of your exercise, you absolutely can. We actually have a mode on the bikes that we sell where it turns so when you want power from an e-bike, generally you get that two different ways.
Right.
Through something called pedal assist, which means when you're pedaling, you're getting some help from the motor, and there's different levels, so you can get a lot of help or a little help. And then oftentimes on a class 2 e-bike, there will be a throttle. And the throttle you can use when you're pedaling, or you can not pedal and put your legs up and have fun. But Pedigo has this mode where it turns the pedal assist off, but it leaves the throttle on.
Okay.
And I see a lot of my customers who come to e-bikes from cycling, from a regular bike. Maybe they're a little bit skeptical of the e-bike, but they just can't do the hills anymore, or don't want to.
Right.
And this mode is really good for them because they can ride it like a regular bike. They can get all their exercise. But when you have this giant hill, you're not in first gear going 2 miles an hour. You can use the throttle and get a little help, and it just makes biking that much more enjoyable.
Yeah. So are people getting exercise on these bikes?
You can if you want. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I always laugh when right before we were opening 3 years ago, there was an article that came out written by People for Bikes, and the headline was, "E-bikes, do you really get exercise?" And it's a leading headline, and I thought, before I read the article, I thought, oh no, this is not what I need. I'm opening an e-bike shop. Don't have this. But the takeaway from the article was that while the intensity of the workout may not be what it is on a regular bike, I think they found it was maybe 70% of what it could be if you don't have an e-bike, if you're riding a standard bike. However, people who own e-bikes rode them something like 900% more often than someone who is riding it purely for exercise.
Right.
So that was kind of a neat takeaway. And I've had a lot of customers come in who are skeptical of that. And, we go on a test ride, and as long as they have a little bit of self-control and they're not throttling the whole time, we get back and they're out of breath.
Yeah.
And I like to remind them of that. I said, see, look, you sound a little winded here. Were you just riding an e-bike?
There you go. Yeah. Mention the classes of e-bikes.
There's 3 classes of e-bikes. Class 1 and 2 are going to have a top speed of 20 miles per hour, and the motor on the bike cannot have a power output more than 750 watts. And that's going to be a nominal output rating, which means no matter what you throw at it, it can put that much power out. Generally, they'll peak at about double what the nominal rating is. So between 1 and 2, a Class 1 e-bike will only have pedal assist. A Class 2 e-bike adds the throttle, but they're both limited to 20 miles per hour.
Right.
In New York, a Class 1 and 2 e-bike are considered a bicycle.
Regular bicycles.
So anywhere where you can ride a bicycle, you can take a Class 1 or 2 e-bike. When you get into a Class 3 e-bike, that means that either you have a larger size motor, or more often it's the speed is going to be higher. So all Pedigo models come as a Class 2 e-bike. About half of them or more can be upgraded to Class 3. And on a Pedigo, a Class 3 e-bike means that your top speed is 28 miles per hour. And that's something that you can turn on and off. So
Okay.
you can bring it back to a class 2 when you want to ride maybe on a rail trail or in a park. And I see a lot of my commuters or people who are buying an e-bike as maybe a car replacement. They'll opt for the class 3. It's easier to, especially in town, you can keep up with traffic, which makes biking safer.
So now they have these little displays that you can change all these things.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it like rocket science? I mean,
No,
is it
it's like
hard to
riding a
do?
bike.
Yeah. But it can be a little tricky, right? To get it to where you want, as far as taking off, how fast you want to go when you take off, and
I would say that
speed and all that.
depends on maybe the brand of bike. So we make it really easy. A lot of our displays will have 3 buttons on them. There's a plus, there's a minus, and there's a power button. So you turn it on and you hit the plus and you go to level 1.
Yeah.
And it's real big right on the display. You turn it on, it's in 0, there's no power. Hit the plus, you go to 1, you get a little bit of help. You can go all the way up to 5 if you would like and get a whole lot more help.
Yeah.
But we try to make it easy.
All right. Now you make sure they buy a helmet.
Of course, yeah.
And do you tell them how fast they could be going, that they need to pay attention, that you're not riding a regular bike where you can do some sightseeing?
We do, yeah. We don't like to have anybody buy a bike without riding it first.
Yeah.
And when you come in and you buy a bike from us, you're going to be out riding it, and it's not just, hey, let's go out in the back parking lot. We generally start there, get people comfortable with it, because it is a bicycle, but there's now electronics to it.
Yeah,
so
because
you have a throttle, and sometimes it's been a while since someone's been on a bike, so we like to remind them that they have gears, and a low gear makes it easier to pedal, and a high gear you have a little bit more resistance on the pedals.
Yeah.
So we get them comfortable with it. And then we go out and we do a ride. It's kind of like a little private tour.
Right.
Generally, our test rides last about a half an hour. And we really try to understand how you're going to be using the bike. So if you we had a woman in here who was buying a folding bike because she's a teacher and she takes the train, and she wanted to change her lifestyle.
that's a great thing.
And use the bike and not use a car. So guess what we did? We rode the bike down to Croton train station, and we made sure that she could carry it up the steps, because that's what she's going to be doing on a daily basis. And the last thing I want is someone to buy a bike and it doesn't work for them. Or if you are a mountain biker, or you're someone who is going to be taking the bike camping, we have a great access to Croton Point Park, which is a county park.
Yeah.
It has dirt roads and gravel roads, and they have a beach and a big grassy meadow. And so if that's where you're riding it, then that's where we go ride.
Right. And the options of the type of bike to get for that is that's the beauty of all these different options.
Yeah. And what's neat about being able to offer the test ride is often someone will come in and they might have an idea of what they want, but you don't know what you don't know. So they'll sort of pick something, we'll take that out, and then I'll take something different. And then often we'll switch halfway through, and that way, it either reconfirms, hey, I thought I liked that, I love it, let's get it.
Right.
Or, oh, I hadn't even thought of this, but this is kind of cool. So, we just try to make sure that you get the bike that's right for you.
Yeah. Thanks, Riley.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah.
And I love the shop. It's beautiful. This
you.
is great. Sales, service, everything. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So come and see Riley. I'm Victor Margiotta. This is the Community Show. Get out there, get your exercise, and, it's that time of the year, so
Nice.
thanks.
Thanks for having me.
All right.